Director of Asociacija Multi, Admir Čavalić, to address you. Please, a warm round of applause for Admir.
Thank you, Alex. Hello, everyone. Pardon my foreign friends. I will continue speaking of Bosnian if you don't mind. Dakle, dobrodošli svi na Open Festival. Zaista mi je drago da vas vidim. Izuzetno smo ponosni na program festivala što vas čeka za sljedeća 3 dana. Mislim da ćete svi uživati. Ako ste pogledali vaše agende, zaista toliko stvari na toliko različitih mjesta i toliko drugačijih prilika da otkrijete ideje slobode. Biću kratak jer smo kasnili malo sa programom zbog naših prijatelja iz Srbije koji pozdravljam, koji su došli maksuz na Open Festival. Ono što želim kazati su 3 stvari. Prvo je da smo izuzetno ponosni, to vam mogu potvrditi, da ovaj festival organizujemo, dakle kao liberali smo izuzetno ponosni da ovaj festival organizujemo bez jedne konvertibilne marke poreznog, odnosno budžetskog novca, što izuzetno treba budemo ponosni na to, dakle ne koristimo novac poreznih obveznika. Druga stvar, zašto Open Festival? Nikada u historiji Bosne i Hercegovine nismo imali, dakle, istraživanje ideja slobode i uvijek nekako kada smo kretali istorijski da to radimo, imali smo neke probleme istorijske, regionalne i slično, koje su nas ometali u tome. Ovo je prvi puta u Bosni da predstavljamo ideje slobode, dakle ne bilo kakve ideje, već ideje slobode, ali ne one možda na koji ste do sada navikli, koji ste slušali. I tu bi parafrazirao trećeg govornika koji će govoriti danas, doktora Toma Palmera, koji jedne prilike, dakle imao sam priliku da ga slušam na predavanju, govorio o svojim iskustvima, dakle tokom putovanja istočnom Evropom i jugoistočnom Evropom, to jeste gdje mi živimo. I gospodin Palmer kaže, zaista, a obraća se američkoj publici, zaista me fascinira kako oni doživljavaju slobodu. Za njih sloboda, dakle, nešto novo, dakle, da budete razuzdani, da partijate cijelu noć, da nema ograničenja, nema limita i slično. Dok on naglašava sad Amerikancima, kaže, a mi znamo u stvari da je sloboda odgovornost, znamo da je sloboda najveći teret za pojedinca. Što znači, biti slobodan nije lagano. I čućete, dakle, tokom 3 dana festivala, gdje sve moramo tražiti našu slobodu, gdje smo svuda ograničeni našom slobodom i zašto je teško početi slobodu. Na kraju želim kazati i preporučujem u stvari da istražite svaki događaj, neki manji, neki više, i da pogledate toliko agende šta vas zanima. Dakle, drugi dan se selimo na Fakultet političkih nauka na SFL konferenciju, a treći dan smo u hotelu Holiday kako bi u stvari imali mini sesije i pričali o slobodi. Još jednom hvala vam puno što ste došli i želim sve da vas u stvari pozdravim i da vam čestitam što ste u stvari slobodni došli na Open Festival.
Thank you very much, Admir. And now it is my pleasure to announce Mr. Senad Šepić, Member of Parliament and Head of Bosnian Delegation in the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. Please, a warm welcome.
Hvala puno, Aleksandar. Hvala, Admire. Hvala ti na pozivu da nas budemo ovdje s vama, da vas pozdravim. Čestitam ti i zahvaljujem se na sjajnom poslu kojeg radiš i pozdravljam sve vas koji ste danas ovdje. Jako je važno za Sarajevo da Sarajevo ima i da Sarajevo šalje ovu poruku slobode. Dakle, Sarajevo ima svoju logiku i ono može uspjeti i generalno naša država, Bosna i Hercegovina i ovaj region može uspjeti ukoliko šalje te takve poruke slobode. Sloboda i mir su dvije najvažnije stvari koje jedno društvo treba. One nisu sve, ali bez slobode i bez mira sve drugo je ništa. Jako cijenim ovo što radite. Vlade i parlament, ja sam poslanik u parlamentu Bosne i Hercegovine, vlade i parlamenti, pogotovo u Bosni i Hercegovini, pa ako hoćete i u regionu, nažalost nisu dio rješenja, oni su dio problema. Ali s vašim angažmanom i s jednom vašom otvorenošću i s jednom vašom željom i s jednom vašom hrabrošću da budete drugačiji, da slobodno mislite, da slobodno djelujete, da slobodno radite, da budete kreativni, budite sigurni da na jednom takvom putu postoje ljudi u institucijama države koji su spremni da to prepoznaju, da to prihvate i da vas u tom smislu tretiraju kao dobrog partnera, kao partnere s kojima trebamo i možemo zajednički da napravimo da i Bosna i Hercegovina, cijeli naš region izgleda puno bolje nego što je to slučaj sada. Još jedan put ja vam se zahvaljujem, želim vam ugodan boravak ovdje u Sarajevu, želim puno dobrih slobodnih rasprava, puno dobrih na kraju ideja i radujem se da i u narednom periodu budem sa vama. Hvala lijepa i živjeli.
Huge thanks to Mr. Šepić. And now I have a great honor to announce our first speaker for today. When it comes to thinking openly, to thinking out of the box, and to reinventing and completely inventing something new, this man is a great example, and he will give a fantastic explanation of what it takes to start a new country here in the Balkans. But before I announce and give the opportunity to talk about how Liberland is a chance for the region, to Mr. Vit Jedlička, I would like to ask you all to please kindly stand up for the national anthem of Liberland.
Dobrý den, Sarajevo, hvala vám na pozvu. I'm working on my Serbian and Croatian and I'm getting better, but it's going to take probably another year before I will be able to deliver speech in those languages. And it's of course a great honor to be here. I think it's a great chance for Liberland to get firmly established here. And I came here from Brazil, and you wouldn't believe how, as well as here, liberty is popular. It's getting popular all around the world. We've got big changes coming, I can tell you. Just very recently, a bunch of 18-year-old guys were able to completely change the political happenings in Brazil. The president of Brazil was replaced because they were active and they were supporting the ideas of liberty in a way that they completely changed the debate. And of course, that's important. That's gonna turn Brazil into more prosperous and more free place. And why we set up Liberland? We did it because we know that liberty works. It works everywhere where it was installed. We know that places like Hong Kong, places like Monaco, or places like Liechtenstein are the most prosperous places on planet. And we know that the example is the best thing that inflicts the change, that helps people to understand what works and what doesn't. And we need more places like Hong Kong, like Liechtenstein, like Monaco in Europe. And that's why I decided, okay, we need to find a place where something like this is possible, and we need to bring people together. And it's happening. Now we've got 430,000 people that applied for citizenship of Liberland. I hope that there are also a couple of people among you. That there is 1,600 people from Bosnia. There is more than 10,000 people in those three countries, Croatia, Serbia, and Bosnia. So liberty is growing, and I'm very happy for that. And I can also tell you one thing. You've got a great book back there. It was written by Frederick Bastiat 250 years ago. And it explained exactly what is wrong with the societies we are living in. And it starts in the way. The law has changed. The nature of the law was to protect people. But now it has changed into robbing people out of its property. And if that is the case, I call all of you, it's our moral duty to change that. That is the beginning of the book that you can buy back there, Frédéric Bastiat-Dulot. It was something that deeply influenced me when I was 13 years old, and that actually made me on this great voyage to find a new country. So, let me start by this quote from Buckminster Fuller. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes existing model obsolete. I think that's very much what we are doing. And just to show you, this is actually part of Liberland. It's this part on Danube River. It's not just this small island, it's actually 7 square kilometers, which was left abandoned by Croatia and Serbia for the last 24 years. It is a very nice piece of territory. It is heart-shaped. I think that's kind of significant for our project. And it is exactly 7 square kilometers, which is also kind of significant. This is how the borders of Croatia and Serbia were founded. So on the left you have Croatia, on the right there is Serbia. Since 24 years, none of these countries has claimed this territory. On the right you can see that Serbia has actually stated they don't mind creation of Liberland, they have nothing against it. On the left you can see that if you look into Croatian maps, you can see that they don't also have any claim on this territory. And it has brought enormous attention from all media around the world. Basically all mainstream media has reported about creation of Liberland. So more than 430,000 people have applied so far. So what we are doing right now, we are letting people to help us, and we are evaluating how much energy they put into Liberland. And if they, help us in a way, in a considerable way, we give them our passport. And this is the currency. We actually started to print it from our embassies around the world. This is our Taiwanese embassy has produced this. Our Venezuelan embassy has also produced a nice coin. Those are the stamps that are currently in production. And I have got this quote, which I quite like. You cannot be a real country unless you have a beer and an airline. It helps you if you have some kind of football team or some nuclear weapons, but at the very least, you need to have a beer, right? So we've got Liberland beer. It was started to produce like half a year ago. It's a quite success. We've got Liberland Airline, which started also right after Liberland was created, only 10 days. And we've got a great football team, which is now actually starting to function. And it was present in Abkhazia for the first time, but we are planning to have a match against Monaco next year. Those are the dresses of the team. That's the coach, our coach of the national team, Mr. Koshi. And we also have enormous support from different professionals. There is some 800 lawyers that applied for citizenship of Liberland. There is 1,200 architects that applied for citizenship of Liberland. And one of those is Zaha Hadid architectural studio, Patrick Schumacher. Maybe you know, they for example did the stadium for the Olympic Games in Japan. And they also decided they want to help us, so they organized this nice architectural competition. This was, okay, there is a little bit problem. This was the design that they produced. And this is, for example, how Liberland should look like according to Polish architectural studio. We actually received 80 different proposals from different studios. It's not working. Okay. This was from a studio in Argentina, how Liberland could look like. This is actually kind of a little bit, let's say, out of the box or so thinking, but it has a large support from the business community. Let's make a big golf course out of Liberland. Doesn't like me. Okay. I think we are running out of battery here. Okay, this is the reality today, right? It's a little bit harsh. You can see that there is just one house, and they were the first settlers when they came here. They were kind of smiling, they were making fun of us. See how bad is their parliament. The Croatia state television came there, and they were really making fun of us in the sense that they look on the floor and they cannot even fix the roof. And we reacted in the way that we said, okay, this is going to be our parliament. We want Liberland to have just one governmental building. And there should be a chief of police, there should be one judge, there should be a parliament of, let's say, 20 people. And we want to keep government in Liberland very small. For as long as possible, we want to keep it, let's say, only in this building. And a part of course, setting up Liberland and having a clear vision how it should look like, we are also setting up institutions. So of course we have a government, we have a constitution, we have representative offices. Now it's in more than 70 countries where we do have a representative and where Liberland offices are functioning. Almost all South America. And this is how our representative office looks like in Czech Republic. It's a former embassy of Danish Empire, of Danish Kingdom. This is from the nomination of our first government. We were actually able to prove that we can set up diplomatic relations. We had a consul of Belize there, we had a Syrian attaché, we had 2 members of Czech parliament, so I think it was a nice proof already a year ago that we are able to set up diplomatic relations. This is our representative office in Berlin. It's a nice co-working space, and I think also it signifies the fact. 1, 2, 3, 4, not too many. And it is a reserve currency of Liberland. And maybe if you're interested how that works, you can reach me after the conference, and I can give you a small Bitcoin, so you know how it works. And Bitvala, who is operating our representative office, is actually giving out or selling credit cards which are backed by this new cryptocurrency. We've got support of lots of libertarian communities, and not only libertarian parties, but also we received a recognition by the biggest opposition party in Turkey, which I think is great. And we've got support from people like Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson is the 3rd most likely person to become a president. We've got support from Hans Adam. He said it would be great if we could sit together in United Nations. We would be right next to each other, Liechtenstein, Liberland. And also I was able to actually talk to lots of people in Swiss Parliament, and Lukas Reimann is a good friend of Liberland. He introduced us to the people on the Foreign Committee. And what we are planning now is to open up a formal representative office in European Parliament and to start Friends of Liberland in European Parliament. I think we've got more than 12 members of European Parliament that support creation of Liberland. For example, Tomáš Zdechovský, who visited Liberland with us, Peter Mach, Jakuš Konvin-Mikke, or Richard Sulík, who almost became Prime Minister. Please. Yeah, this is Syed Kamal, who is the chairman of European Conservatives and Reformists in European Parliament, who is also very supportive. I'm also quite happy about the change that has happened about the new government in Croatia. As you can know, these people are much more liberty-oriented than the previous government, so I hope we're able to set up firm connections with them, please. So Liberland is of course not only about politics, but it's also about the economy, and we are starting from scratch. So we've got a number of ideas and a number of projects that are happening right now. And I will go quickly over them. And of course, starting a country has lots of elements to it. So, if we can go. This is the first settlement of Liberland. This boat is going to be permanently placed in Liberland. So people can come and visit. We don't have to build directly inside of the country now, especially when the connections are a bit unstable. So we are going to have this boat. I think the biggest industry in Liberland from the beginning will be marriages. So if you want to get married in Liberland, you will be able to visit this boat and get married. Those are the kind of condominiums or apartments that are also going to be placed in Liberland around this boat. We want to do that for next summer. And we also want to start to produce these. So it's gonna be possible to settle in Liberland. And this is a bigger project for next year also, maybe end of next year. We want to have a bigger ship where people would be able to actually have their offices, maybe there will be a bigger restaurant there, and so on. And we want to use this boat to first firm settlement of Liberland. And there is one thing which has just recently started to function, and I'm wondering how many of you here use Android? Okay, how many iPhones, so I know a little bit? Okay, 10. Oh, that's very good, because we don't have iPhone version yet. But if you jump on Google Play, you can download Liberland e-Residency app, and you can actually enjoy the possibility of being kind of in Liberland no matter where you are in the world. So let me very quickly introduce it to you. It combines the best things out of the world of cryptocurrencies and regular PayPal things. It combines the things that you can find in Uber and Airbnb. And we got inspired by already previous projects like this, Lazuz, and it is basically an application which allows you to provide any kind of service to anybody in your community. But we are not limiting it to only just one city or area around Liberland. You can use it anywhere you are. So maybe in the future it will happen to you that you will come to New York and you will not ask for New York police to help you. You will just open the app and you will ask for Liberland security service operating in New York. You will not go to Boston and you will not ask for Uber taxi, and maybe you will use the application and you will call a Liberland taxi. And there are some very cool things which are related to the ways we organize our societies. I don't want to go too much into that since you are not too familiar with Bitcoin, but there is a Bitcoin 2.0, which is, I think, the future of governance. It is let's say, an upgraded version of this cryptocurrency used in the way that you can govern a society, you can start companies, but everything is done on blockchain. So it can be completely transparent, and it can be very, let's say, advanced way how even a country can be organized. And this is another thing we just started, and it's working already, market.ll.land. Which is a completely open marketplace for anybody who wants to sell and buy things in Liberland. And those are some of the pictures from the application that you can download. So you can see that you see other Liberlanders around you. You can see how they are appreciated in the community. So there is a reputation management, and you can see all the things that these people are doing and if their services are available. And it's getting very packed lately. Last weekend it was a big event, and we were actually presenting Liberland on 3 places. I flew to Brazil, our foreign minister flew to Athens, our Minister of Finance went to Brno do present, and it's getting tougher and tougher to fit all the events into the schedule. And I think Open Fest in Sarajevo here is one of the biggest events that happened this year. It's great to be here. Next weekend I'm going to Smithsonian Forum. I would like to invite to Liberland Investment Forum. So there are many things happening that you can take part of. And our long-term parallel, Liberland is about liberty, and it's about building a new country from scratch. And our plan is to actually be able to settle Liberland next year and have a stable government and have a stable, have a general election and have infrastructure development already from next year. But the ultimate goal is, of course, to show the world that liberty works and that we are able to start the most prosperous country in the world. Because there is direct correlation between the level of liberty and, of course, the respect to private property and prosperity and happiness. And we want to show that it works. So we want to be the world's most libertarian and developed country in the future. And just the last slide, I guess. Okay. Well, this is from the last visit to Liberland. It was a great event. We had around 100 people coming all together, visiting. So you're also very welcome. It's not too far from here to stop by and visit us. I think the biggest event that we are planning right now is the celebration of 2nd year of existence of Liberland, which will happen on 13th of April next year. So if you can put that into the calendar. And of course, not only that, you can already start your domain in Liberland. It's another important thing that we are building up all these services that normally governments do. So it's a domain for now is ll.land, but we are already fighting to get just the LL domain. Okay, and one last slide. Yeah, this is the new website that will start operating probably next month. And one more slide. Yes, and if you want to get involved, we need more diplomats, definitely. We need to be able to show to the diplomatic community that we are serious about Liberland. We need more hackers, we need more entrepreneurs. So if you can think of any business that you would like to start in Liberland, or you would like to call Liberland, please come forward, just do it, and we will help you with it. We will even help to promote your business as one of the early entrepreneurs. And we need more lawyers, because of course, Liberland is a big legal challenge. We are now facing more than 31 legal cases where we are working to get free access to Liberland. And of course, yes, we need more tourists. So again, feel free to visit us anytime, and I will be happy to respond any kind of your questions at this email address. And I hope to be able to talk to you during this wonderful conference. Well, thank you very much for attention, and see you in Liberland.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we have time for a few questions, so if you do have any questions, please raise your hand, and we will get the mic straight to you. Yes.
Good day, sir. I'm glad to have you here, and a wonderful presentation indeed. My question is, what's the official language of Liberland?
Liberland, of course, has an official language. It is Liberlandish. And many of us speak it. I am actually doing it because we think it's unnecessary. So if you But if you ever complain about any Facebook status that Liberland produces, that it's not correct English, it's not English, it's Liberlandish. So
thank you. Great, thanks. Any more questions, please? Hands. Yeah.
Hello. I want to know if gay marriage is legal in Liberland. Gay marriage. Gay marriage.
Gay marriage.
Gay people can get married in Liberland.
Well, this is the thing. I think the marriage, I think it will be one of the first big businesses in Liberland, because now on these boats it will be quite romantic to get married. And the thing about marriage in Liberland is that the state is directly banned on making any kind of laws about marriage. So we are not endorsing gay marriage. We are not endorsing any kind of marriage either. It's great that people marry, but the state has zero say in these matters. And I think that's the best way how to deal with this debate. Because state doesn't have the right to marry a couple, state doesn't have a right to marry a gay couple. I think all these things should be entirely left for churches. Why should state be bothered? And if gays don't have a church that will marry them, they will probably have to start their own some kind of church or other institution that will marry them. So again, it's out of question in Liberland, because we actually ban the state to regulate marriage.
All right. Any more questions, please? Yes.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a short question. You talk about Liberland's beer, football team and other projects, while at the same time talking about the small government. So my question is it going to be state-run, all of these projects? And if so, how is it going to be financed?
No. I was just showing what was actually achieved by our private sector. There is zero involvement of the state into football. We are not sponsoring our football team. It's completely independently run. There was zero influence over the beer. It was completely created out of just the people wanted to make a beer. And by the way, there is like 7 or 8 people that want to start brewery in Liberland right now. So we are just connecting people sometimes. We help the investors to come together, but of course state is not going to have a brewery.
Perfect, thank you very much. Yes.
Hello, and once again, thank you for your presentation. I have a question. What's your long-term plan about the educational system in Liberland?
Again, that's very similar to marriage. We ban states to make any regulation or any laws on education. And I think it's the best way to achieve very educated population, to let people freely decide how they want to educate themselves. Now, we came to an age when it's very easy to get a degree at Boston, MIT, Harvard. You can do everything, all of these things online. And I think that we are running our societies and our educational systems in the way it was run a century ago. And there is very little innovation. And the state is actually pushing people to stay in schools, in high schools and in primary schools without too much of an effect. I think some of the people actually even compared it to small prisons for children. And I think in a way, if I look back on how I spent my time or how other people felt about staying 8 hours a day for 10 years in school, there is something to it. And in Liberland, I think that when people have the freedom to choose, and of course the freedom to start university or freedom to start any kind of school and educate others, that is going to be the most effective way how people get educated. So I don't know if I please you with this answer, but Liberland has zero influence over these things. Okay, please.
I think some countries and governments would look at the app that you presented with some degree of envy and think that is much better than the service that we are providing to our own citizens. Do you think that the ability to create a country from scratch with no legacy, with no need to support existing systems, existing customs and laws, will allow you to innovate in a way that gives you some leverage with the government of Croatia, such that one day they may actually think that it would be in their own interests to recognise Liberland and allow it to flourish?
I think it can actually happen quite fast, even faster than people think. And of course we want to lead by example. Of course we are cooperating with the leaders in technology that are working on how to make governments more efficient. And it is great that we actually have zero legacy, because then we don't have to, you know, build up on any kind of systems that are outdated. So I think you're right in that, and I'm very happy that, for example, the cryptocurrency community is behind us. And it's also, you know, it's, a lot of things are just in our heads, right? The way we think about states, the fact how states are created, how we think about the money, and you know, this thing about Bitcoin. It's the more I actually think about it, and the way it has changed the world and how innovative it is, the more I think, you know, this is really the age when the central banking institutions are over, because we've got now so much better technology than to just print the money or type them. So much reliable technology which is beneficial for the people. And again, I was a little bit surprised that not too many people here use Bitcoin, but I think it's a very nice entry to the new age of the decentralized governance of the world. Yes? Sure. Is it what?
Hello and peace to you all. I would like to ask you just one little question. Is it marijuana legal in your country?
Well, I'm very happy that we just made a deal with one of the speakers here that they will write us an article about the best policies of Liberland about drugs. And of course, yes, marijuana is legal. And we are going to have very similar policies to Amsterdam in that regard. So we don't step too much aside from what the international community accepts, but also we are going to be quite liberal. Yes, please. Or here, or there. There was another question.
Good afternoon. I wanted to ask if you needed any other type of workers apart from entrepreneurs, hackers, lawyers, etc.
Of course, any kind of help that you can think of could be beneficial for Liberland is more than welcome. And you know, Liberland citizenship is not for free. The e-residency right now is zero cost. But if you want to be a citizen and get the passport of Liberland and be full member of the community, then you have to come up with some way how to help Liberland. And it's not just about, you know, money of course is welcome, it's necessary to start a country, but it is any kind of activity that brings any help. And for example, starting new year and starting April, we really need people that will live inside of Liberland. For now in boats, but yes, it's also a activity, the settling of Liberland, which is appreciated.
Hello, welcome to Sarajevo. I would like to thank you and the organization of Local Festival for inviting you here. I have two short questions. The first one is about Army and the Police of Liberland, and the second one is how much are you optimistic about the future of Liberland?
I'm very optimistic recently, and you will see some big things happening in next 30 days. 30, yes. Some of the things might change the way Liberland is viewed internationally, and I'm very happy actually that the picture is very positive from the very beginning, that people accept it and they see it as a great potential. So that is something you will see. I'm not going to disclose you anything further, but it will change very dramatically. And the other thing is Army and Police. Yes, we are going to have a sheriff system. We're going to have, of course, security, and it's one of the three basic roles that we say Liberland will take care of: security, justice, and diplomacy. So we will make sure that Liberland is secured. But we are not going to have an army, just for example, like Costa Rica. There is not going to be a standing army. We think it's unnecessary, that our neighbors are friendly countries, and that we are able, of course, to manage without any army. And we also think that the neutrality is the best position of the foreign policy. So we want to really, be kind of peacemakers instead of, trying to build a strong army and fight. No, that's not our intention. And who knows here what date we started Liberland? I already mentioned here. Yes.
13th of April.
Yes, exactly. And who knows here whose birthday was it? It was birthday of Thomas Jefferson, and we did that on purpose. Because this person, of course, had a great influence over the way one of the most prosperous countries was formed. And we want to remind the world about his legacy. And also he had a great foreign policy. Make friends with all countries, trade with everybody, but don't make any alliances. I just paraphrased it a little bit, but that's also the foreign policy of Liberland. Please.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. If we want to apply for citizenship in Liberland, what is the procedure?
It's very easy now. You just go to liberland.org and you open up the form, you fill it in, you fill in as much as you want. It's very liberal. You are not obliged to fill in all the questions, but we, made some 20 questions so we get to know the most important things about people. And again, if you find any way how you can help Liberland, you can collect merits for it, which is our kind of appreciation system. And if you collect enough merits, you get the citizenship. But again, like getting e-residency is just a matter of you having an Android phone, and you have to be a little bit patient. We are just beta testing it right now, but I think you can already get the general idea. There's still some functions that don't work properly, but it would be great if a couple of people here, got on the team and help us to finalize this app, maybe help us even put it in practice. I think Sarajevo is a great place because, for example, Uber is not operating here yet, and this app can very easily kind of have the same functionalities, and it can really get the business community of Sarajevo together if it is run properly. So it would be great to have feedback from you also on this app and how it is used. And anybody who helps us again will get merits and will rise in the ranking.
Hello. I wonder how many of those citizenship applications you are planning to accept, since 7 square kilometers is not pretty much big place for all those people to live.
Well, you're right, but we are still 3 times larger than Monaco, and there is some 35,000 people living in Monaco. So technically, if we have the same density of population like Monaco, it would be 100,000 people living there. Some of the projects that I showed you were planning to accept all 300,000. That was kind of the bigger plan there. I think it's also possible, but I don't think it's feasible. It's just not that necessary to fit all of the people. They can also live abroad. they can also visit Liberland from time to time. So that's the way I see it. Yes, please. Hello.
As far as I understood, your state will not be concerned with your citizens' freedoms or what they do. And if so, what if one's freedom clashes with the others? Who interprets? Who gets involved in it? No one?
Pardon?
If one's freedom clashes with the others, like the idea of freedom, what happens? Do you get involved in it?
Your freedom ends, of course, where the other person's freedom begins, and I know it's a little bit sometimes complicated, but I think usually when people, and when it of course must be a responsible group of people, when they get the freedom, they are able to get together quite well. And I think that will be the case in Liberland. Of course, there will be some disputes. Maybe somebody might pollute somebody's property, or maybe there will be a thief from time to time that steals something. But that's why we have the judicial system. And we want to have very fast and very efficient judicial system. So all those cases don't get stuck with courts for a number of years, but they are very fast resolved. And I will also nominate first judges of Liberland in next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that, because we already have some cases which are worth starting the courts for. Yes, please.
What kind of political system do you want to establish in Liberland?
Well, Liberland and the constitution is a very strong republican constitution. So I really, for example, the founders of the United States, they despised the world democracy. They really didn't like it. And there is a reason for that, because, of course, democracy is a rule of majority. And republic, contrary to that, is a rule of law. In democracy, people can decide to kill 50% of the other people living in the country, and it's completely democratic decision. And we want to avoid that. That's why we have a strong constitution, and we want to make some improvements. We actually took the best parts of American constitution, best parts of Switzerland constitution. We combined these together, and we are also now putting in an element of, let's say, corporate structure, which I think might be very helpful, and we are using these blockchain technologies to make it very easy for people to govern. So there will be the second chamber of Liberland Parliament, which will be based basically on the number of merits that you have, and that will be the size of your vote. And I think we're kind of revoking the House of Lords idea, and I think it will help Liberland to be a functional country, because the size of your vote will be connected with the size of energy you put into creation of Liberland. Yes, please. One more. There was one other. Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon. My question is, how are you going to stop state from expanding itself? Because maybe one day there will be some other president of Liberland with some other ideas, and he will try to expand state a little bit. So,
well, for example, our constitution says that I'm the first and last president. That's I think important, that there is like no place for presidents in the system that we have. We are very hard on state. The constitution, if you read it, and of course it would be also nice to have it translated into Bosnian, so people can go through it. It's 26 pages. I think it's not too bad right now. The main reason why it is so long is because there is 2 pages on what government should do, and there is like 24 pages of what it shouldn't do, right? So we are restricting government in this way. But the other reason why I think Liberland will become quite free for a very long period of time is that the best way how to achieve, of course, freedom is to allow people to choose between different states. And that's the idea behind Liberland, is to have another jurisdiction and maybe inspire other people to create their own jurisdictions. Let me roll back a little bit. I just read again a very nice article that was written by the Chicago Journal of International Law and the Self-Determination. And in the Charter of United Nations, there is written that everybody has the right for self-determination. And I think that this right is not entirely respected by the international community now, that there is kind of fear to fully respect this. And I think with Liberland and with similar ideas, it's time to get this very basic rule implemented. So, I hope I answered your question.
Hello.
Yes?
Thank you for your presentation. My question is just if you could explain a little bit the process of becoming a diplomat if somebody wanted to do that, and what do you have in mind in the long term for the diplomatic aspect?
Of course, becoming a diplomat is not a hard thing. Right now in Liberland, you show the interest. It's great if you have diplomatic connections, and I can tell you most of our diplomats has very high-ranking diplomatic connection with the countries. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. We will help you, we will guide you, you will get a brochure of 40 pages, what Liberland diplomats should do or shouldn't do. You will get access to the database of people that applied for citizenship in your country, so you've got a great chance to build up an organization which will help Liberland. And you will also get guidance regarding to how to act organizationally. And I think, Liberland is a really great chance to basically build the strongest libertarian organization in the world. And I think we are already getting to that stage. So, feel free to just talk to us, and whatever you can do, it would be great. Right?
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. So my question is, what we heard so far sounds too good to be true. So what do you think, honestly, what will be the biggest problem in creating your state?
Well, I think we actually don't have many obstacles right now in the way. The only thing which is kind of slowing us down is the speed in which Liberland is creating, and the way that people jump on board. So I think the only problem is kind of internal, and that is something that is slowing us down a little bit. But apart of that, I don't see any big obstacle. And I was also told that that Liberland is just in my head, it's just an imagination. But all the countries in the world are just in our head; they are just our imagination. And Liberland is getting to a stage. To a state when the number of people that want to make it happen is, I think, crashing this important threshold when we are going to be a fully recognized, worldwide recognized country. When I was in Brazil, I finally had a time for a little bit of my personal time, so I jumped into swimming pool in one of those hotels for a couple of minutes. And when I jumped in, there was a person, Brazilian, and he recognized me, right? And I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy, because people around the world recognize Liberland. It happened to me now when I got out of the airport in Zurich, the person. So Liberland, and that's the thing about the international recognition. That's the word recognition is there. If it is recognized as a country, then it is a country.
Any more questions?
Okay. Thank you very much again. It was great to be here, and I'm here for next 3 days. I'll be more than happy to talk to you.
Thank you so much.